And now at 5, burn scar areas brace for heavy rain, which could unleash dangerous flooding and debris flow. Welcome to Fox 11 News. I'm Christine Devine. We are tracking an October storm. It starts tonight. People who live in recent burn scars areas are being told to prepare to evacuate. The city of LA has issued evacuation warnings for multiple zones, including Pacific Palisades and Mandeville Canyon from 10 p.m. tonight to 6 a.m. Caltrans will also close a stretch of Topanga Canyon Boulevard between PCH and Grandview Drive from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. tomorrow. Then there's the Eaton fire burn scar. LA County putting these areas on notice: Altadena, La Cañada, Flint Ridge, and Pasadena, all warned to be ready to leave. You can track all the evacuation warnings at foxla.com. Meanwhile, to Orange County, evacuation warnings are being issued for the area of the airport fire burn scar, including Trabuco Creek, Hot Springs Canyon, Bell Canyon, Long Canyon, and Majeska Canyon. Chief Meteorologist Adam Kruger tracking that storm and when it gets here.
Yeah, this storm is a beast, and we can see it on radar hitting part of California right now. We're just waiting. We expect the rain to start moving in tonight, lasting mostly through the first half or first two-thirds of the day tomorrow. That's when the bulk of the rain is going to hit. It already looks like, by the way, tomorrow morning's commute is going to be about as bad as it gets weather-wise. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But here's what we see on radar right now. So we see these waves of rain. This is one of these situations where everyone in Southern California is going to get rain at some point. Some spots, though, that rain could be heavy, and that's why we have that concern for some possible flooding and debris flows in some spots. All right, in a little closer right now, we just see a little light rain well north of L.A., north of Santa Clarita, into parts of the high desert. Not a big deal at the moment, but late tonight, mostly after midnight, is when it starts really picking up. So we've got flood watches in effect for all these areas in green right here. That's in effect late tonight through Tuesday afternoon, but I expect the worst of the rain to, for most of us, be wrapped up by tomorrow afternoon. There's also going to be some pretty strong winds out of the southwest, meaning blowing from southwest to northeast. In those tan spots, we could see wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. But let me get you to the most important part of the forecast, mapping out where this rain is going to be and when it's going to be there. So watch the timestamp here as we go in 3-hour increments. Here's 9 o'clock tonight. We may have a few spotty showers here and there. No big problems out of these just yet. You can see the heavier rain around midnight sweeping through Ventura County. So all this goes from west to east. So we have this wave we'll watch that'll come through in the middle of the night. This is 3 o'clock in the morning. You can see more of that heavy rain around L.A. and in some of the mountains as well. But still a bigger batch off to the west that'll come through more so tomorrow morning during the morning commute. So here we are at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Widespread rain. These orange and red colors indicating where it could be heavy. Might be some thunderstorms. Some could be strong. Here we go into 9 o'clock in the morning. So again, 6 to 9 is when the biggest, heaviest batch is likely to sweep through the dead center heart of our area. So that's why we're so concerned about the morning commute tomorrow. There's a look at noon. It's kind of like the eastern half of our viewing area here getting the heaviest rain. And then as we continue into tomorrow afternoon, there will be a few showers lingering and still maybe some rain, even mixed with some really high non-sticking snow up there in some of the highest elevations. And just to summarize all this, how much rain we might get, many areas, as you see, could get over an inch, but a few inches can't be ruled out in some spots. Christine?
All right, we should say storm preps are well underway across Southern California as the region does brace for that heavy rain and that rough weather. Fox 11's Laura Diaz right there live from Altadena tonight. Laura?
Yes, Christine, talk about the 1-2 punch. Of course, we all know that devastating wildfire that occurred here in January. Now the good people of Altadena, the Eaton Canyon area, are getting ready for this huge storm that you just heard Adam describe. And they are, in fact, under an evacuation warning if you live in the burn scar area. Let's look at some of the preparations that you just referenced that are taking place in advance of that heavy rain forecast for tonight. Heavy rain could trigger mudslides, debris flow, and flash flooding, all of these very dangerous. So what our cameras found earlier today, K-rails and sandbags used to divert water and to secure those homes. Now keep in mind that an evacuation warning, it really is an indication of a potential threat to life and property. Residents should be ready to gather their loved ones and get out quickly. Of course, we all know that the other areas that were devastated last January are also in the bullseye. Similar concerns for Sierra Madre. And we had the same thing there where they were trying to get ready for that potential flooding to come in. We also know, too, as we head to the beach out towards Malibu, it's all the areas that were hit so hard last January, now having to get prepared for another potential emergency. In fact, if you look at the video that was shot earlier today over Malibu, the students who are at Pepperdine have been told to shelter in place. This is all under a warning at this hour. But if things change, of course, it'll be elevated and people will be told to get out immediately. I was in Pasadena before I came out here where the same thing was in effect. But they want to remind people, if you are a person who is somehow incapacitated, if you're not able to move quickly, you may want to get out right now. Because if that evacuation order goes out, it means immediately that it can develop into an emergency situation very, very quickly. I'm Laura Diaz reporting live from Altadena, sending it back to the studio. Christine?
All right. Storm preps are well underway across Southern California as we brace for heavy rain, strong wind, and possible flooding. Fox 11's Laura Diaz, she joined us live from Altadena tonight with what crews are doing there to prepare. We already see it's windy out there, Laura.
Yes, Marla, talk about getting hit with the 1-2 punch. Of course, we all know January that this area was devastated by wildfire. Now a dangerous storm is on the way. And so, of course, emergency officials are advising if you live in this area, if you live in the burn scar area, you are under an evacuation warning and preparations need to be taken. Let's look at some of what took place earlier today as people get ready. Now, you can see here that the Eaton Canyon area where we know there could be heavy rain, they have set up there could be mudslides, and of course there could be debris flow and flash flooding. So K-rails and sandbags are being used to divert the water and secure those homes. Everybody's being told to stay off the roads unless you absolutely need to drive. Just take care of your families and your properties. Now, that evacuation warning means that there is a potential threat to life and property. Residents should be ready to gather up their loved ones and get out. If you are a person who is compromised in any way, meaning that you can't move quickly, then you should probably get ready and leave tonight and not wait until tomorrow when it could actually turn into a real emergency. Now, similar concerns are being expressed for the Sierra Madre area. Same thing there. K-rails and any kind of sandbags being picked up at the local fire department for people to try to secure their property. Then going out to the beach, to Malibu. These are all the areas that were hit hard by those fires in January. We know they have the denuded hillsides. There's just really nothing to try to control that rain as it goes down the side of the hill and takes the mud flow with it. It is very dangerous. We remember all what happened in Santa Barbara when that happened in the middle of the night and people were literally trapped in their homes. So that, of course, is what emergency officials are trying to prevent. We're all hoping that the storm will not be as bad as potentially it could be, but just to be careful, be ready to go. And if it elevates from a warning to where it's an emergency order to get out, you need it to do it immediately. I'm Laura Diaz reporting live from Eaton Canyon, sending it back to you. Marla?
Laura, as it relates to the Eaton fire zones, the burn scar areas there, how heavily populated are those areas? In other words, are people back there living?
Well, you know, some people never left. There was one gentleman, and I hope to be able to update him at 10 o'clock. He never left the area. He was advised to leave, but, you know, you can't change people. He stayed and protected his property, and in the end, he protected his property and some of his neighbors' property. So I intend to check in with him to see how he's getting ready for this latest round of danger. You know, people do what they feel they have to do to protect their investment, their home. But if you have somebody who's not able to move quickly, certainly if you have somebody who's elderly or handicapped, it's not wise to stay till the last moment. You can't get out that fast. And, you know, I hate to bring up a recent memory that's a devastating memory, but we all remember what happened in Santa Barbara, and people literally were trapped in their homes. They died in their beds. And that's certainly a history that nobody wants to repeat.
Absolutely not. All right, Laura Diaz live for us there in Altadena area. Thanks so much. We'll take you live outside. This is a live look from West Los Angeles. You see the ominous hue out there. I do want to bring this to your attention. The LA County Sheriff's Department just putting out this notice that Topanga Canyon Boulevard will be closed as of tonight at 10 p.m. and continuing until 5 a.m. So 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Topanga Canyon Boulevard closed for almost a 4-mile stretch from PCH to Grandview Drive. This is all ahead of the incoming storm. With that, let's bring in our chief meteorologist, Adam Kruger, for more.
Yeah, and I get the sense from people I've talked to today and even in here in the building, a lot of people thinking, is this going to be as bad as this sounds? This sounds like doom and gloom. Well, here's the thing with this system. We haven't seen something this strong yet this season. We know it's going to rain basically everywhere in Southern California. This will be widespread rain. That part of the forecast is a lock. There's no doubt about that. There will be spots that get some heavy rain, and that may lead to flooding. We don't know exactly where that will play out just yet, though, so that's why we kind of just need everyone on watch as we go through tonight and into tomorrow. Now, by tomorrow afternoon, things will improve, but we have to wait for these waves of heavy rain to come on through. We can see already there's San Francisco, so up and down the middle part of California, we've got that rain showing up, and it's heading in our direction, so our western areas will get it first tonight, and then late overnight, after midnight, a lot of it comes through L.A., and tomorrow morning's commute, weather-wise, is going to be about as bad as it can get around here. So we look closer on radar. There's a little bit of just light rain, a few pesky little minor showers up to 5 north of LA right now. That's not what we're concerned with. Again, it's late tonight when it really starts to get worse. We have a flood watch for all areas in green right here, but it's especially the burn scar spots where we have to be particularly on watch for the possibility for those mudslides, debris flows, things of that nature. But if we get a heavy storm or heavy rain that sets up even over a highway, away from burn scars, we may see lane closures as a result of that. We also have a wind advisory in effect. This is through 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon for those areas in tan. Still going to be pretty breezy everywhere tomorrow morning, but especially strong winds in those tan spots where the gusts could be up to 50. All right, let's walk through this now. This is really the most important graphic I'm going to be showing today, is when and where the rain is going to be. So as we go into this evening, here's 9 o'clock. Again, we could see a little bit of spotty rain ahead of all this. The main big couple of rounds is still off towards the west here. This is midnight, so Ventura County starting to get some of that heaviest rain. Then it starts moving into LA County in the middle of the night, after midnight. Here's 3 o'clock in the morning. Heavy rain with more on the way. Here we go into 6 o'clock in the morning. And by the way, the colors you're seeing here basically just have to do with the intensity of the rain. So the yellow, the orange, the red, that's getting heavier and heavier. This is 6 o'clock in the morning. This is 9 o'clock in the morning. Notice how that's when the bulk of our entire greater LA area is getting the heaviest rain. That's why I say tomorrow morning's commute, not, if you can just avoid driving tomorrow morning, that would be the best course of action. Here we go into noon tomorrow. We still see some heavy stuff over our eastern zones, i.e. out towards some of the mountains, and might be even a little snow, but not sticking to the ground up towards Big Bear. We go into tomorrow afternoon. You can see how the rain will be letting up, maybe still some spotty showers at times tomorrow afternoon. Potential rain totals. Some areas half an inch or so, some areas around an inch. Some could get even more than that. And I think the best chance for the heaviest rain will be on the south-facing slopes of the mountains and the foothills. Okay, now temperatures, real quick. If you are going to be out and about tomorrow, it is going to be chilly. That's a look at the forecast highs, but there's going to be times tomorrow afternoon where I think it's going to be even more like upper 50s to around 60 degrees. The highs at some point in the day will be in the low 60s for most. Finally, we'll show you what's happening once the rain gets out of here and the system passes by. We've got sunshine Wednesday and beyond. Temperatures will be on the rise by the end of the week. And we're right back to beautiful Southern California weather by the end of the week, and warmer quite a bit by the weekend. Marla?